one. You have Joe's?
I do.
Okay, I don't. Or did you provide additional column?
I got one copy. Doesn't look like that. That's probably better.
Can't afford a color printer.
It says create role on there. Very. All right. Good morning. It is 9:03 on Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. And this is time for fiscal year 23 preliminary budget workshops for Public Information Officer. I'm Commissioner Smith, also present is Commissioner White and Mindy, Jen Hassard and Cook, and Chief Deputy for the clerk, Zach Wagner, also the controller.
Thank you.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
We are streaming live. This is, the purpose of that is for the public to be able to listen to the specific budget detail requests and then to provide feedback at the community input meeting in July. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to you, Joe, for your report or request.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, this is always one of the most difficult budgets that you guys have to approve and go through every year. So my apologies in advance. I don't have a lot in my budget. It's essentially the same as last year's. In terms of my B budget, I did put in $2,000 for small equipment. We have the law enforcement memorial ceremony every year, and we always kind of rely on donations to get a PA system for that. And so I thought it would be nice to get a little portable. Outside, we have that portable podium that the county has, and that's great for like quick and easy events, but it'd be nice to have like a more professional PA system, speakers, wireless mics, for various county events. And I priced one out. 2,000 is a little on the high end, probably about 1,600, 1,700, I think. So 2,000 gives a little bit of room for that. But that's really the only major change in the budget this year.
Okay. And you aren't advertising or printing yet, and you haven't been claiming any mileage. You plan on doing any of those?
Done a little bit of advertising, and I don't really drive anywhere to claim mileage. If I drive to the DMV, it's more in the process to fill out a mileage claim form than it is to drive 3 miles to the DMV or something. I mean, if I go to Celebration Park or something, I'll find mileage, but the last time I was out there, the CGI guy was driving me around. So.
And then training, you don't have any training planned?
Not at this time. I picked around going to a conference at the end of August, but the problem with that, if I go to a conference, I still have to do my job here while I'm at the conference because I don't have any backup. So I can't really
I've had
focus
to
on
do that before, and it's still worth going to the conference.
Yeah, but Clearwater, Florida, and ended August. I don't know how much fun that sounds. Me and humidity don't get along with them.
Get in for one. All right, I would encourage you to continue. Like, I think you should budget for something. You can also use it. The commissioners have a training budget that will be used, but you should be investing in yourself.
Okay.
And you did not ask for the social media person?
No,
Why not?
I didn't think this was the year to do it. I don't think we need it. If we start, it sounds like the sheriff's office might be implementing some social media. So if that does happen in the future, I think that one would need a little more monitoring than just the current channels that we have.
And Commissioner White?
Zach, I have a question for you. I think I talked about you this one time with you. And that is the administrative aspect of Joe's job. Do the other departments, do we charge the administration fees? Because really Joe is the public information for the county. So do you do that?
Madam Chair, Commissioner White, in this specific instance, no, we do not. We do not allocate or spread that cost out between county offices and departments.
Okay.
The expenditure is accounted for in the current expense fund, and that's somewhat considered the general fund of the county. And where Joe does provide valuable services throughout the entirety of the county, it might be more work than it's worth to try to allocate that out between 30 different accounting entities.
Okay, that's the answer. Thanks.
All right, any other questions?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Bibby?
can you expand on the conversation with the social media person? I have not heard that.
Well, and I guess in the past, they've asked if I've ever wanted or needed additional employees. And I said, if I did, the one thing that I think I'd lack at is social media. So we could hire like a part-time social media person. And they wouldn't even need to necessarily be on site. Like that would be something that I could give them the stuff we need to promote or things that are happening for the week. And they could sit at home and put them out on our social media channels. But that's really, because it's, you know, we have our county website, Nextdoor, Parks has one, We Can Go For has one, Economic Development has a Facebook page, and I have to be an administrator on all of them and kind of approve all the content. You know, doing that aside with my normal duties, sometimes I fall on social media stuff, so it'd be nice, because social media, people expect it back and forth, and I'm not the hugest fan of social media personally, so it kind of plays into it, but you know, if you have somebody who can monitor it more closely than I do, you get more of that back and forth with the citizens.
You can also do it called and just eliminate all comments.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know if you can do that on Facebook. You can on Nextdoor.
Oh, they do it on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, our friend Nick wasn't like that.
I didn't love it either, but Colville still did it, and now they post all the time.
And that's, you know, there's some legality questions with that, since we are a public agency. I'm
That's
not
why
sure
they-
you're allowed to.
So what they did, they took every word in the dictionary and put it in as forbidden words, so all words are forbidden. So the only thing that can get posted is a tagged name. Everything else gets blocked. Anyways, that's not the subject, but
Well, I appreciate the feedback, and right now, I think your position is a good position where you're looking at your project management and maybe honing what it is you focus on, and Commissioner White's comments on breakdown of where that's spent. You may be tracking that this next year. That's good.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Jen.
We'll move right into treasurer's budget. Welcome, Treasurer Lloyd.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, you got the memo.
I'm Pete. Oh, I think we did. Let's go. Well, good morning, Commissioners. I kind of pride myself on being boring, so that hopefully this is about the least exciting budget of all elected officials. Okay, that's what I try. There really is not too much change. I do, our interest rates are coming up, which that's a catch-22. It's good and bad. Interest rates come up and our economy is not so good. So, but we are getting a little bit more on it. So, and the amount that I show here in on interest is just the amount of interest that is proportionate to the current expense fund. And that percentage changes depending on the other funds that are designated and receive interest as well. So I did to keep that at the same as I had previously projected for 2022 for the next fiscal year as well at 255,000. So far to date, our interest is right. That's about the total interest we received on all of the funds. So like I said, this 255,000 is just the amount on the current expense line item. Yes.
Tracy, what's the percent interest? Or down by statute, you can't go over it or invest certain amounts, but you were obviously getting something on it. So what's your percent of return on that?
Well, currently, I just got a 4-year bond and it was right 2.96% is what the interest rate is.
Okay, thank you.
So,
You have fun looking those up?
pardon?
Do you have fun looking all that up?
Oh, yeah.
Find you the treasurer.
I have some pretty good people that I work with, brokers that they keep me on top of things. So it's not just me sitting and
Staring at
sitting at my-
you, watching numbers.
What's wrong with that?
I'm glad you're the controller.
I did.
She watches them, you play with them.
I did tell Zach the other day, I said, you know, I've been looking at my crystal ball and it's kind of a little foggy lately. I don't know what to think, what to even kind of anticipate what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
So,
weird.
yeah, it's crazy.
Snow White.
Do you hear, because of the nature of your job, like on Percy and different things, how that's doing? And with their investments or anything like
I don't, but I'm sure that they're probably in a similar boat as I.
that?
As we had some pretty rough years, these last couple years, definitely, COVID, we just didn't know what to anticipate. We didn't know that was coming, and that really did make a significant impact on what we were anticipating. I think for the first time that I recall, I actually didn't hit my benchmark as I anticipated for interest in fiscal year 2021. And that was one of those things, we just didn't have any way of anticipating what would occur. And so it happens every once in a while. Let's see. As far as our employees, I do have one vacant position that is funded. And I feel that is necessary to keep. I'm not to a point where I feel like it's critical that we fill that position at this point. However, I think we are going to, at one point this last December, we had one employee that was out for the whole month and really, really could feel the difference. So one of these days I'm not going to be around, and that next person might think that there may need another person in there. So I'm pretty fortunate. My staff has been there. The tenure is quite long. So they're very well trained and experienced. Without that kind of a staff, we would definitely need more individuals.
Was that Nancy's position, office manager? And it hasn't been filled since 2019?
No, actually it was Jennifer's position. And when I moved her up into Nancy's position, that position stayed open.
Madam Chair.
So then Jennifer is a twofer, like Zach, she's filling the office manager and the chief deputy role.
Yes, she is.
Good job, twofer. Commissioner Van Beek?
And so I think I've answered the question in looking at your notes on compensation plan. The note in there says an FTE requested. That's the one that you're leaving open in there.
The note says what?
The only thing I can find, we have notes listed in the notes that they tagged certain accounts, but the only thing on that line for 413075 just says an FTE. And is that the amount?
No, it says COLA,
It says
7%
COLA, 7% COLA. I included a 7% COLA to the salary budget.
And I'm looking
And I put
at
it
it
in compensation.
so I can see where your attached notes. I don't, maybe I'm not looking at those correctly. I'm not sure. I didn't see that note in PowerPoint, but thanks for the clarification.
And let's see, going down into the B budget, the miscellaneous professional services, that is for our billing and printing. We do anticipate a postal increase in July of this year. That's anticipated to be between 6.2 to 8.4%. So of course, that's going to impact those professional fees and the mailing of tax notices and things like that. So that is increased from 78,000 to 85. Our tax fee expenditures, those are going to be probably the same. You're going to see an increase in postage there as well. Our service contracts, that includes the new public access that we will be hopefully going live with by August 1st. And that will provide a little bit more user-friendly for taxpayers to go out and get numerous amounts of information on their property. With that public access, I was able to negotiate some better fees on our credit cards and also implement the debit card acceptance. So whereas right now we can't accept debit cards in the office, our current charges or credit card fees are 2.5%. I was able to negotiate countywide those fees down to 2.39. I will be able to implement debit cards in my office at a 1% fee as opposed to the 2.39, which is going to be a huge savings to our taxpayers. And I was really pleased to be able to do that. Also was able to negotiate lower rates on e-checks, online e-checks. Right now they're $3, and that's will now, once we get up with public access, will be $1. So. And like I said, the service contracts, that includes the part of the public access. It's also our Momentum yearly service as well. And postage, that was increased a little bit just because the rates will be going up. Let me try to see what else was. Armored car, of course, we are noticing an increase there, and I'm hopeful that my increase that I reflect here is going to be enough, depending on what fuel fees go to or fuel prices go to. That's very possible that those fuel surcharges will exceed what they currently are now. On computer equipment and office equipment, we are going to have to replace our scanner. It has decided, our original one decided to quit, so they gave us a loaner. Now the loaner is not working, so I'm hoping that we can hold out to October before we really have to buy one. So keeping my fingers crossed that we can live through until October. Other than that, I would just stand for any questions if you have any.
Madam Chair. And Tracy, you put your request in now with IT on your standard, you buy through them?
Yes.
Okay. We had a pretty significant wait time here.
Right, and that's kind of reflected in my actuals from last year. And this year, I'm already over budget in certain line items, because those things that I anticipated buying in last year's budget didn't come in until this year's budget. So it's kind of a snowball effect.
You had to actually switch brands, I remember that now.
Mhm. Yeah, that
You
was,
had to go to Adele.
yeah, it was like 6, 8 months to get in those computers. So.
Recommend.
I'm good. My only concern is we've been having this conversation with the other elected officials, is the age of these positions that haven't been filled. And that was since 2019, and I was talking to the sheriff about his, I understand why you haven't left, or why you have one. I understand why you have it, it's because you have Jennifer.
I have an amazing team. I really do. And I'm very, very, very blessed and fortunate.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
Zach?
thank you. The clerk apologizes that he's not here. He is participating in an election recount today. I want to thank Tracy and her team for the work that they do. I think the structure of the clerk and the treasurer for a check and a balance is a fantastic structure. And I think it works extremely well in Canyon County because of Tracy and her team and the cooperation, the communication. There has to be that communication in managing the county's cash, getting through an audit process. It's just a tax collection. I really appreciate the communication, the work that we're able to accomplish together. So the board is aware, last week, we received our second tranche or allocation of coronavirus relief monies. We have received a deposit of $22 million. We have received all of the cash related to that. And the earnings, the investment earnings from those monies are going into the current expense fund to be used however the county sees best. There's no requirement that the interest earned has to be spent on COVID-related measures. So as the interest rates have increased, we have those monies in their own separate account so we can track directly how much interest is generated off of that investment. And that will then end up in the current expense fund.
That'll be a lot at 2%.
Madam Chair.
Way better than what we've been getting. It's great.
Yes.
That's good to know. Did they just release the guidance on that interest? Because that was a question like a year ago that we didn't know what would happen with the interest.
That's fairly recent, but the final ruling is that the interest can just go into the county's current expense fund.
Great. Commissioner Van Beek?
That's how much of the 44 million has been spent from that ARPA allocation.
Let's keep it on track on what the budget is right now. And since he doesn't have, he just was giving us an update, but I'm sure you'll be happy to get that back out.
We can get that to her, yes.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you. And yeah, let's see, when's the coroner supposed to be? 9:45? Okay, well, we'll wrap this meeting up and then be back at 9:45.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Have a good day. Thank